Deathspeak here with Deathspeak Gaming, bringing you part 2 of the Spider-Man PS4 playthrough. So, we did level up after defeating Kingpin. You have 3 trees for your skills: Innovator, Defender, and Web Slinger. Pretty self-explanatory there. Innovator is going to be more of web stuff and is going to be stuff that focuses in on combat. Defender focuses in more on what you can do inside of combat, like dodging and the like. And web slinger is for just swinging with your webs. So you do find out at this point that he does work for Dr. Octavius, who is working on prosthetic,
sometimes it gets him into trouble.
On neuroprosthetics, so essentially his octopus arms. And he has been beaten multiple times by Oscorp, with them coming out with technology and stuff. So as I had stated previous, so this takes place 8 years after he became Spider-Man. And we do see that, he does have struggles in his daily life of, paying, bills and the like, which is nice to see. So apparently this is part 1 of multiple games that Insomniac is going to be doing that are going to be Spider-Man games. But apparently this is part of a Marvel initiative to create a gaming universe, which is nice to see. So so in the game, it has been shown with screenshots and the like that Avengers Tower is in the game. So presumably the Avengers are already together. So this is one of the times that you play as Peter Parker. And so when you do play as Peter, it's just like, oh,
sorry I'm late.
Yes, there's just kind of these like quick bits. Yes, and as I was saying, we see that he is hooked up to this machine, is moving a prosthetic.
The grant committee's director will be here soon.
But his calculations
It's fine, Parker. I invented
are
this
kind of
equipment.
off.
I think I can handle it.
As we do find out after discussing,
Powered him.
is that Peter is the one that kind of sets up a lot of this stuff to help him out, as he's kind of an inventor, but not
yet.
to a degree of actually
Hold on.
inventing some of the stuff, or getting so many calculations and stuff right.
Dr. Octavius, are you okay?
Another setback.
And we do find out that a little bit later, when you do come back to the lab, that Peter has been working with him since college. And we do find out
Is anyone
a little
hurt?
bit later too,
it was all my fault.
right after this,
Energy
in
levels
fact,
exceeded our expectations.
that
From a certain viewpoint, that's a very positive development.
It doesn't smell
J.
very
Jonah Jameson
positive.
has left the
I assure
Bugle,
you, in the next
which
phase.
Let's
is
not get ahead of
interesting, and he
ourselves.
does have a podcast.
Is there somewhere else
But
we can
he is
discuss
still a
this?
reporter. So yes,
Maybe
we
you
do
should take
find
the
out
rest of the day
that
off, Peter.
when
But we'll
we
talk
have
later.
to take a picture of the Empire State Building, that Peter has since left the Bugle and doesn't actually do any kind of photography anymore.
That was a
Which
disaster.
is
Look at the
is
damn
interesting,
perfect.
because photography
I know Doc said take
for
the day
the most
off,
part
but
is
I have to figure out what went wrong.
besides in Homecoming,
You are in bad shape,
photography
guy.
is kind of a focal point of Peter's life. We do realize that him taking pictures of Spider-Man,
Let's see what's wrong with you.
doing in action and the stuff is was a significant source of money. And while he may have had like other menial jobs, like delivering pizza and stuff like that, we do.
Circuit burned out.
It does. It just strikes me as
I'd been here to do the
interesting that,
pre-check, I would've caught
for
this.
instance, in the Raimi movies, in the Sam Raimi movies, that him being a photographer was a central part of the movies. And then we have in this game that is establishing its own lore. So Jonah and Peter are not a part of the Bugle anymore. You know, Peter has basically given up on photography. Him and MJ are not a couple. For I'm guessing that she kind of can't get used to the fact that he's Spider-Man and putting his life in danger. That might not be the case. As I don't know, I haven't actually met the character of MJ at this point. So you do get these little puzzles which are simple enough to do. At one point when you do come back to the lab before you get your advanced suit, you do. Yes, you do come across. You do get this little pad thing like that. That actually tells you. Making the arms like more efficient and this stuff. Now I don't know if that's going to factor into this game or the next game. Because obviously with them having Octavius in the game. Doc Ock is inevitable. And like I said, now I don't know if doing this is going to make him be a little bit harder or whatever. I have no clue. Which, if it is, you know what, that's cool. And with this puzzle, I just kind of messed up because I didn't realize that I would have to go around. But, hey, I do make mistakes like everybody else. But going back to the lore of this game, like I was talking about, most superhero games, with the exception of the Arkham games, do kind of play it safe when it comes to using established characters. They're typically based in the comic book lore already, and they're
Nice.
or
Okay, what
they're
next?
they're based like in the comic book lore or movies. It's typically how they do
Rebalance
it.
the voltage.
And with the exception of this Spider-Man game and Web of Shadows, I actually cannot think of a Spider-Man game that actually set its own lore. Apart from everything else. Because, we do have the Ultimate Spider-Man game, for example, that is essentially just playing the comic. They're just playing the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. You do have the Disney Infinite playset that is, just playing in the, I believe it was the Ultimate Spider-Man show.
Finished.
I believe that, you're just playing in there. You do have the Amazing Spider-Man games, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man games that are focusing in on, you playing the movies.
Let's see if that worked.
Which is fine and all, but it is nice to see
Good as new.
comics, or to see superhero games really coming into their own now and establishing,
Doc's been testing new
new
materials for the
lores
prosthetics.
and the like.
He asked me to review his work if I had time. Might as well
Like
dig in
the
now.
Batman Arkham games, this game. It's very nice to see that. Which, yes. So at this point, I didn't realize you could run this, Peter. So that's why I did just kind of walk over there, because I didn't realize that you could run. But, yeah, this part is just like really simple. You
Doc
just
was testing a
find
new
the
contact material
piece
for the
that
prosthetic.
matches what is missing on the thing. But, like I was saying, seemingly, superhero, or, well, certain games in general, not just superhero games, but, certain games in general that are based off of, creative licenses, and anime related stuff, Dragon Ball, Naruto, stuff like that.
Hydrogel
So yeah, so
polymer
anime-based
composite.
games, superhero games,
Strong, but there's a lot of impedance.
or comic
Better
book-based
tell Doc
games,
to
I
keep
should
looking
say,
for other
not
materials.
superhero-based. Um, even certain
Alright.
fighting games
I
are
should get out of here before I screw things up for Doc even
reestablishing
more.
past lore, you know, um, and the like. It's great to see these games, reaffirming and changing and doing something different. Before, like, every Dragon Ball Z game was the story up till the Majin Buu saga. I mean, well, like, we got Budokai, or yes, the first Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi game, or Budokai game rather, not Tenkaichi, was from the Saiyan saga to the
Spiderman,
Cell
it's
saga.
Yuri.
The second
make it to
game was
Rikers yet?
the
Not
rest of
Rikers.
the series.
Our boy qualifies for the VIP
The third
treatment.
game was
He's in the
the
raft.
entirety of it.
Ah, joining Scorpion,
Um,
Electro, and the rest. Fisk should be honored. That's a steamed company.
Can you swing by the precinct?
The-
Got an issue that could benefit from your unique skill set.
For
We
you,
get
Yuri,
the Tenkaichi
anything.
games, and
I'm on my way.
the Tenkaichi games are the same story that has been told.
Huh. Looks like
the
Jameson's got a new episode
Saiyan
out.
saga to
Wonder
the
what my
Majin
number
Buu
one
saga.
fan thinks about the Fisk
Um,
takedown.
With stuff from GT, Budokai Tenkaichi 2
This
was
is
the
Just
same
Facts
way.
with J.
The
Jonah
Naruto
Jameson, where
game,
listeners like
the
you discuss
same
the
way.
issues affecting our city
It
with
was
Pulitzer
all
Prize
the
winning
same
two-time
story with
Pulitzer Prize
not
winning former
adding
publisher of the Daily
anything
Bugle.
new or
Hey,
changing anything or
And as
doing
always,
anything.
if you order Mr.
Now,
Jameson's book,
it wasn't,
Spider-Man, Threat or
we
Menace,
did
within
get
24 hours of our broadcast, you'll
games
get an
like
autographed
Raging
copy
Blast
at no extra charge.
and
No
Burst
personal
Limit that
stations,
did
don't ask,
change
not
some
gonna
stuff
get it.
around.
Welcome to Just
Or,
the Facts with J. Jonah
maybe
Jameson,
took a story
alerting
mode
you
out
to the
and
threats
just
you
added in
don't
like
even know
battles you
about.
could
Let's
participate
dive
in
right
or
into the
whatever.
calls.
But for the most part, they typically played it safe, and then we get games like Xenoverse
Is that right?
that
Tell me, are you a
took
police officer?
the Dragon Ball franchise
An award-winning reporter with
in a new
decades on the job
direction.
like me?
No, I'm a plumber.
in the fact that
And fix my
oh yeah,
toilet
we're
and
taking
shut up. Let me explain
know,
something to you about crime.
we're giving you a
Soon as one
chance to
goes down, you'll be
create
put
your
with a
own
gun,
character
a tracksuit,
and fight
a
with
drawer full of
Goku
gold
and
chains.
Vegeta and all
He's
of
the
them,
next godfather.
and to
We're gonna have
help
a
them
gang war
out
in the
and
street.
save them
But does that
because
whip-headed moron give a
demons are
damn?
giving
Of course not.
Raditz more power or Vegeta more power, making it to where Nappa has more power and Nappa's like still there, and stuff like that.
And you'll be singing a different
Same way with the Naruto games. While I haven't had a chance to play Shinobi Strikers, and probably won't anytime
Now
soon.
that you quit smoking, what do you tell people when you come up here?
Not because
I
I
need a break
wouldn't,
from their
not because
crap.
I wouldn't want to play it, just because
Fair enough. So, why'd you call?
it is
Need a date to the
that.
policeman's ball?
And there
You
is
got
a
black and
line
white
that
suit?
at this point that is becoming
ball
that
this
is
way
kind
anyway.
of funny.
We spent too much integrating Oscorp
When
surveillance tech.
she does
Worth it
reference
though, right?
that
It
there's
was.
not going to be
Till
a
an hour ago.
policeman's ball this year.
The system went down. Citywide.
And
Every
Spider-Man
tower.
makes comment about taking her
Tell
to
me
the
someone
ball or
sabotaged
something
the
like
central
that.
server, and now all the towers are offline.
And she's like,
Inside
it's not
job.
like you, you have a black and
We'll figure it
white
out
suit.
later. Right now, we need to get the towers back online. Fast.
You called me?
it
Aw,
did
that's
kind of catch me as funny.
I called someone I could trust.
Because
Plus, the
it does
signals are
show
scrambled
that
and we have
in
no
this
idea how to fix it.
game that there is no
Ooh.
symbiote suit.
I love a challenge.
You break it, you buy
and
it.
I thought you
like I
trusted me.
said, like I was going before, it is refreshing
this
to
tower.
see
Input bands have been shifted.
established
Subtle.
franchises, whether or not, I mean, like I said, anime-based games, comic book-based games, even fighting games like Mortal Kombat, doing stuff that they had already done. You know, changing stuff around, adding something to it. You know, putting in new characters, advancing the timeline past where it was, you know, previously, stuff like that. You know, hopefully that trend will continue, and, you know, we'll be able to have Marvel games like this Spider-Man game, you know, create its own inside universe and, you know, interconnected universe, which apparently is supposed to happen. Apparently this is part of a new Marvel initiative to create an in-game, to create a gaming universe that, you know, is connected much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But we will see how that does do. You know, and if they can actually work and be successful in it, because there are very few examples that I can actually there's no examples that I can think of beyond the Lego games that,
Hey, you gonna finish that?
In a minute.
and
Gotta check
specifically
something first.
well, the Batman Lego games or the Marvel Lego games really don't count now that I think about it, because they were already set up to be, you know, the Avengers and the like, you know, to where, you know, they were already all together.
We just had a tower come back online.
Well, I mean,
Was
like,
that you?
Not
well,
just
I
a
mean,
pretty mask,
Batman
huh?
you can kind of
Whatever
consider,
you did,
because
any chance you could do it to
Batman
the other
was
towers?
interesting because
Sure,
the first
but
one was,
just so you
you
know,
know,
I
essentially
had to
all
sync up with the
Batman, then
tower
the
to
second
fix it.
one introduced
I'm seeing all crime data in the area
DC,
now.
or
Looks
other
like there's a
DC
break-in
characters, you know,
happening near me.
Superman, Wonder Woman,
Great.
stuff like
I've got
that.
units nearby.
Don't bother. I'm on it.
So, you know, that is kind of interesting, that they did allow you to do that, or that they did include these characters and did expand upon the universe. But it's not like we have a Lego Batman game, a Lego Wonder Woman and Superman and Teen Titans and the like that, and they, you know, just kind of clash together in a Lego Justice League. You know, typically,
Pretty sure these guys
you know,
didn't forget their
like
keys.
typically comic book movie or comic book games, you know, you have like Marvel Ultimate Alliance or X-Men Legends that, you know, that do, you know, share one kind of thing together. You know, the X-Men Legends game, for instance, it was all X-Men. Ultimate Alliance was, you know, a lot of the Marvel superheroes. So it is interesting to see how this new initiative will work, based off of this. Now, we do know that, based on screenshots and stuff, that we do have, that the Avengers
Okay,
are a
wrapped up.
thing
Thanks for
already,
that.
because there is
Now I'm
Avengers
seeing an
Tower
assault near you.
You're in luck, Yuri.
in this
Your
game.
favorite tough but
So,
lovable grizzled seen too much
You know,
detective in town.
if
What? No.
you
You
know,
promised
we
you wouldn't do
do
that anymore.
start,
Spider Cop.
if we do start to get other games like Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and stuff like that, I would hope that they would build towards a Avengers type game. You know, maybe it's like, okay, well, yeah, like maybe it's like, okay, we'll use Spider-Man to introduce his universe. We'll do an Iron Man game, to, you know, kind of further along the universe, and, you know, have references to Spider-Man and the like. You know, we'll do a Captain America game the same way. You know, like Thor, and then like in the Avengers we'll introduce the Hulk or whatever. You know,
Get away from her.
like I said, it will be interesting to find out how that happens, since, you know, apparently this is reiterating again that this is a Marvel initiative to create a gaming universe much the same way that they did with the cinematic universe. Now, I think what would have been interesting is had Marvel, when they were doing, or when they had licensed out the games originally, you know, like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America and stuff like that, had they used those to build an in-game universe,
All clear,
much
ma'am.
like they did the
I knew
cinematic
Jameson was wrong
universe,
about you.
you know,
You're a
to
little weird, but you got a
add
good heart.
into like the Avengers
Have
and
you
stuff like
got
that.
somewhere to go?
Like
I can take
and
care of
not just
myself.
like copy. Okay, well we're
I'm
doing
sure you
like
can,
an Iron
but
Man
just
game
in
that's
case,
gonna
there's a place called the
be
Feast
a
Center.
movie tie-in
Finished.
game that's
I
gonna
don't want
focus
charity.
in
They got
on
the best wheat cakes in
you
the
know
city,
what happened in
hands
the movie.
down.
Mom used
And
to
you know
make those.
craft its own
Haven't had
story,
any
but make them
in a long time.
interconnected,
I'll check it out.
much like they did
Thanks,
the cinematic
Spider
universe.
guy.
It's
But
Spider-Man.
time will tell exactly
Should be able to
what
spot the next
will
tower from up
happen
there.
and if they will be successful in doing a game like that. Yeah, so coming up is activating the second tower in Chinatown.
From his
So there's 3
elevated
towers
position,
per
Spider
section of the
spies his
city
destination. A second
that add
surveillance tower.
onto your radar.
Narrating yourself?
What? No.
And
of
it
course
does
not.
pinpoint locations of backpacks
Thought he was a loose cannon.
that you do have,
Already regretting
as
this.
well as landmarks when you do unlock that, which is again early in the game. Yeah, so the backpacks help you unlock suits. It also helps you unlock the Spider-Man Homecoming suit.
I can modify these
And
towers
which
to track
is
more
cool.
than just crabs.
You know, so yeah, so it is interesting the way that they have worked and did this game. So with the first 3 towers, you do kind of have to watch that little view thing every time, but after
Score.
so yeah, so
Towers
after
are picking up all
you
kinds of RFID signals
complete
now.
the first 3,
including one
that's kind of
nearby.
a tutorial thing.
What's that?
You can skip it any other time you do unlock more towers. Yeah, so it's not like you just have to watch that every single time. So yeah, so this is the first backpack. Apparently they are backpacks from when he was in high school, and he put trackers in them. But of course, my thing is,
backpacks
I
from high
doubt
school.
very seriously that webbing
Forgot I
would
attached tracking dots to
still
these.
be attached to the buildings, you know, all these years later. So guys, that's it
Wonder
for
how many
this
of these are
video.
scattered
Remember
around the
to
city?
like, share, comment, and subscribe if you are new and do enjoy this content. So until next time, Dead Speak out.